RTD Live Talk, Detroit's #1 late night YouTube talk show. We are live for a Tuesday night live stream. Excited to be back. Looking forward to connecting and finding out what's going on in your world. And so looking forward to checking in and finding out what's new out there. So I kind of want to piggyback off a little bit of what I discussed last night because I'm trying to make sure. Also, let me know how my sound looks, or not looks, but how does it sound? Because I want to make sure I don't have any technical issues, because I would hate to be ranting and talking and not being heard. So let me know how's the audio. Give me a thumbs up real quick in the chat. Let me know if everything's good, so that we can make sure this flows smoothly. But assuming everything is good, so yeah, I want to kind of piggyback off of last night's discussion in reference to market gyrations, reverse repo, but I think I want to gear towards the whole Cyber Polygon event, because after some information being shared in the Discord page, referencing I wouldn't say prophetic, but I would just say a gentleman ahead of his time that a lot of people may be in favor of, may not be. Me personally, I'm open-minded. I like to listen to a lot of different commentators and get their thoughts and try to put the pieces of the puzzle together. So I've always been a fan of his, but it has to do with Mr. Alex Jones. So in the Discord page, somebody shared a quick little 50-second video basically highlighting some things that he's been yelling from the mountaintops for several years now. And in this little short clip, I'm going to play it in a moment. It gives one of two events that he mentioned was coming, several years in advance. And so one has already occurred, and we're currently experiencing it now. And so I want to find out and get your thoughts and share my thoughts as to why I believe the second one is tied into this whole Cyber Polygon event, and how it plays into the former administration, President Barack Hussein Obama, how he handed over the keys to the enemy. And so I put together a couple articles here. It's when you start putting stuff together, man, it gets very interesting. So I'm looking forward to sharing that. But before I dive into all that, let me acknowledge a couple people. So if you are new to the community, feel free to let me know. Or if you're a returning member of the community, let me know where you're watching from in the chat. I would definitely love to acknowledge your presence and welcome you to the fold. And then when the phone line is open, 313-462-0027, I'd love to hear your thoughts. So I have two primary subjects here. It's all dealing with the whole cyberspace and the events that they're working on, and how I think a lot of this stuff, of course, it all has something to do with the financial sector primarily, but how it might play out is something that just coming across my attention today. I want to share with you guys a little bit. So let's dive in. So before I dive any further, let me do a little maintenance on my side, and then we'll jump right in and just see where this takes us, man. And then also curious to get your thoughts on whatever other subjects. As I mentioned, there's more subjects that we can probably cover at one time, but I want to try to have you guys plug in as much as possible. Try to, basically fill us in with what's going on in your neck of the woods. You are the eyes and ears of the community. So let me share with you real quick. Let me put this on my screen here, do a little maintenance, and then we'll dive in and make it happen here. So for those that are new to the channel, I want to make sure you know that rethinkingthedollar.com is the home base. You can find everything, articles, videos, you name it. So make sure you check in throughout the day there. You're going to always see something new and something fresh there. I put all my videos there as well as recommended videos. And then for those that are new, scroll to the bottom, 5 steps to unplug from the matrix. Step 1, Dollar IQ quiz, 10 questions that can open your eyes up to a whole nother realm of studying when it comes to monetary literacy. If you're interested, take it. That'd be great. If not, keep on moving. It's all good. All right, next thing. For those who want to join us midweek, become a member of the Patreon gang. You can hang out with us off air and let your voice be heard and get a chance to rant unfiltered. So that's something I enjoy doing with the community. So if you're interested, consider supporting the channel via Patreon. You guys can do that. And then also make sure you connect with RTD off of YouTube, because based upon some things I'm going to share right here, it's very likely that the keys will be deactivated for a lot of people real soon. And I wouldn't doubt if they actually do it to YouTube temporarily, just to quiet the noise as things become very chaotic in the days ahead. I won't share more talk on that. So make sure you guys are plugged into other media sources, even though if this thing plays out the way I'm about to lay it out, I don't think it really matters for the most part, but we'll see. Anyway, any place you want to connect with RTD, we're there. So feel free to do that. All right, so let me acknowledge a couple people here, and then I'm going to share with you some articles, share my thoughts, and also get your take on it, because a lot of people out here might have covered this more extensively than I have, and so you might be able to add some value to it. So please feel free to do that. Okay, so let me acknowledge a couple people. We got Ed Hammond in the building. We got Dude Boy, Elias Jones. We got One Man Army. We got an alternative top checking in. We got Tom. We got DC Precise, L Walk, Tom Goodson, King D, Rusty in the building. We got Bible Study, King James 1611. All right. We got Tony B joining us. We got Dude Boy, okay, El Monty, Tim Goodson. We got Bougie Prepper in the building. How you doing, Bougie Prepper? Appreciate you for tuning in with us. Let me know where you're watching from. We got Grow Mechanic. Michigan is here. Appreciate you. We got Kenneth Darrow in the building. We got Mass Free Society. Okay, keep it moving. All righty. So Darrow says YouTube's a canary in the coal mine. Oh, I would agree with that one. I definitely would agree with that one. Tim says, Mike, love the show. Have you had a chance to check out geoengineeringwatch.org? Tim, man, I have not, but that's probably one of maybe 100 other sites that the community can recommend. So feel free to throw it at me. I'll definitely try to check in. And so I also saw in the comment section, people saying, Mike, I've been told you to check out this. Mike, I've been told you to check out this. But imagine, dozens, possibly hundreds of people saying, check this out. It's hard to check that out as well as try to create content, do my own research. And so that's why I rely upon you guys to help out. So this is why it's important to join the Discord page, because you can keep us all up to date on what's happening out there in the world. Because mind you, with these two eyes, I can only see so much. But when you put together hundreds of eyes, we can cover a lot more space. So keep that in mind. Please join the Discord, Telegram, any place where it's more likely little more decentralized in nature, have a longer chance of being connected. But you guys get my drift. So hopefully you guys can be a blessing to us by joining and sharing information. Everybody here has a unique angle, unique story they study. Share it with us. All it takes is one person to share it, let their voice be heard in the Discord. We all get a chance to hear it, because I do check in throughout the day. All right, so let me stop ranting. Okay, keep moving. All right, here. So, okay, here's one of the things I want to touch on real quick, and I want to just make this because I actually wrote me a sticky note to make sure I mention this statement, because usually before I go live, I have everything planned out, but then when I go live, thoughts just come to me and I can't control myself, and I just miss all types of stuff. But here's what I'm interested in seeing, and this is what we're going to talk about tonight: the internet kill switch. And so I'm going to play for you a quick little snippet from Alex Jones that he gave in 2017-18, and then of course we're going to walk through the timeline here as to how Obama, by this time everybody knows Obama was a bought and paid for puppet. It's nothing new. And on another note, Obama was the door opener for the whole black-white / racial narrative that we're experiencing now, because he came in, was the first man of color. And from that point on, I'm not even sure when the Black Lives Matters. I'm assuming that's probably last year or two. Not sure. I don't really follow it like that. But he paved the way for this narrative of the racial divide really being intensified. And so, of course, people fell in love with him because he was the first, African-American, a partially African-American individual. But all along, I remember talking about this, and I caught a lot of flack from a lot of people, calling me haters, because they were saying, how can you hate your own kind? I'm like, dude, he's a puppet. Like, just look at this guy. Ain't nothing about him spells, he loves this country. Because I was like, is he even born from here? So you guys know we went through all that back in the day for those who were here. But anyway, by now, everybody realized he's just a part of the deep state. He was a puppet. He was just as much under control by the globalists as just Biden and everybody else. Even of course, I'm not leaving out Trump. He's a part of the plan too. Okay. But one of the things that Obama did that caught my attention was the fact he literally turned over the keys of the internet to entities that the American people knew nothing about. And of course, as you backtrack, put all this together, you think about how the internet came about, why it's here, created by DARPA or whatever. It's used to be a financial tool to have all this whole transition, a funnel that this whole transition, would travel down. And of course, here we are now, 30-some years, after the creation of it, 40-some years creation of it. And we are in the midst of this great reset, and the internet is the tool they're using. Now, the internet It's something that we use, but it's not for us. It's not by us. If you get what I'm saying. So it can be taken away at any moment. And so I personally believe that either intentionally or by accident, there is a internet kill switch behind the scenes. And when you factor in who has the master keys of the internet, it plays in very well with this whole cyber polygon exercise and the fact that ICANN, which is the non-for-profit organization out of California that got the keys, that they're, in control of all this. And so no internet, if the internet kill switch, it can cut the banking sector entirely, and it can severely damage and hinder the crypto space. And I'm going to share with you why I believe that is all a part of the plan. Let's find out. Anyway, so let me get into some articles here. So I have a lot of articles here. I want to make sure I do this in a timely manner. But this, I want to just start off with this here. I want to try to rant less or rant faster so I can get more people's thoughts in. But here's that little PDF that I mentioned last night. So we're going to start off with this tonight. This is the whole Cyber Polygon. So for those that might not was not here yesterday, Cyber Polygon event took place July 9th. And, it's basically about preparation for some event. And of course, Klaus Schwab says it's going to be the worst event we ever experienced. Okay, what does that mean? It all has to do with obviously our finances, because that's probably what people would fear the most. Losing everything they worked hard for, every savings, every account, everything that you've been promised can be wiped away when they turn the switch of the internet. Let me show you how. So if you go down to the very bottom here, this is the pamphlet from 2020 of the partners that were a part of Cyber Polygon 2020. These partners are still in the mix. And so ICANN, or if I'm not saying that incorrectly, it says a not-for-profit, public benefit corporation and a global community. ICANN's mission is to ensure stable, secure, and unified global internet. The company oversees unique identifiers that allow computers on the internet to locate one another. ICANN ensures universal resolvability. Users receive the same predictable results when they access the network from anywhere in the world. Anywhere in the world. Keep all those words together. Access to the internet anywhere in the world. Okay, so these people are partnering together right now in some exercise of some event that they say is, probably likely. And of course, when they say it's happening, it's going to happen. Okay, what does it look like, though, is the question. So let's go back in time a little bit. And so here, let me, this is the video here. But earlier today, a couple hours ago, actually, I put a video on the Twitter page. And this video here stems from something that somebody in the community put out. And so let me play this for you real quick. It's 58 seconds, but this is a time lapse back to Alex Jones when he was preaching about how his insider secrets, people he know inside the back end, told him about two events that's going to occur. One has already occurred. We're experiencing it right now. It happens to be this bioweapon that's been released. The second one will be, I'll probably zoom ahead. So check this out real quick, and then we'll dive in further. I got some more articles. Well, actually, let me see. Why is my volume not working? Give me 1 second here. Let me make sure my volume, something is not right on my side. Give me 1 second here. Let me make sure everything is good so I can hear it. All right, we good. So let me get this. So just listen to this real quick, and then we'll talk about this more.
Globalists have said in their white papers, in their own UN documents, that they want to create race-specific bioweapons and other systems to depopulate the planet. A lot of this, from my sources, is that they're preparing to release bioweapons, claim that they're naturally occurring, and then use that as the cover for civil emergency, societal control, crackdowns on free speech. Obama put the internet kill switch in 5 years ago. And when he got confronted by Congress, he said, well, it's in case the bird flu or SARS gets out. Just type that in. CDC says internet kill switch is in case bird flu or SARS breaks out, and they have to control panic and direct every website in the U.S. to one government announcement. And we looked at every angle and believe a bioweapon release could be the thing they'd release to bring in a world government to counter a global problem. And the UN has said that a global pandemic is the only thing that may save their world government.
All right. So as you guys can see there, part of that has come true. The other part has not come true just yet. And God forbid it does. But you guys can kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about here. So ICANN. So Obama basically turned over the internet to the globalist directly. Like he literally lock and step and key gave it over to the globalist. And so here we are now. We're at a time where the internet is in the hands of the enemy of themselves. And so they are not only planning this thing from a health standpoint, but they're also planning it from a financial, literally, as he said, their internet kill switch that could take down the internet. And basically what it boils down to is when you look further into this whole ICANN and actually what it's about, is basically a registry of all internet operators. So everybody who has a domain. So even me, rethinkingdollar.com is registered on ICANN. So if you're a website owner, whatever, everything you do is registered, lock and step. They know your IP address, IDS address, your name, your number, everything. It's basically a digital registration on the internet. It's like you're having your telephone number in their hands. They have the keys to the back door. They see everything. They know everything, and they have the ability to access anything they want and steer traffic any way they want on the back end. So here's just a little article here. I had to dig back and find this, but it's not hard to find. It says Obama gives away the internet and with it our liberty. So this is from the Washington Times. So that's quite interesting. But this was back in 2016 in September. And of course, we goes on. I can give you more of that, but I'll spare you that. And so here's something here. 7 days before Obama gives away internet and national security. So this is also in 2016 in September. So you read through this, it talks about how before the ICANN, which stands for, let me give you the Internet Cooperation for Assigned Names and Numbers. And so basically 7 days before it was actually turned over to the United Nations, it was set to expire. And so everybody was in that time was talking about how the United States government, should renew their rights to it, give it another year, so to buy time to figure out how they're going to basically manage the internet, because the United States of America was the overseer of the World Wide Web when it comes to the ICANN here. But they let it expire intentionally, turning the keys over directly into the hands of a nonprofit, non-governmental agency. So you take a government entity, so all governments, all government domains, all that stuff would turned over from the government's ownership or part of ownership into the hands of a non-for-profit based out of California, which then we don't know who. Of course, you can suspect who was in that non-for-profit out of California. It was probably, I don't know this, but suspicion will lead me to believe the Gates, the Rockefellers, or, those type of names will be probably the owners of those non-for-profit that owns the ICANN. But long and behold, ICANN was basically rolled over into the United Nations hands. So basically when Obama literally let the ICANN contract or whatever it was expire, that's when everything was rolled over. So that's kind of what this article talks about here in depth. And it gives more information as to how that plays out, the domain name, your IP address assignment, and all these details here. So basically your personal information, if you're a internet domain owner, whether you're a business or personal, it's all registered here. Okay. So it's no longer in the hands of the U.S. government as of 2016 because Obama turned it over. Okay. And then to piggyback even further, you go back to at the same time that the Cyber Polygon institution or whatever they call themselves. So if you go to bi.zone, this is what they're under on YouTube. And so this is their channel, and it's very small because it's hush hush. So they don't want nobody knowing about this. You couldn't comment on this, but this is the Cyber Polygons, this is their shield YouTube channel here. So if you type in bi.zone, you'll get a chance to see more videos. But in this video here, Klaus Schwab was talking about how this is the 4th year of operations, and every year the exercise or whatever. So come 2017 is when they started. That's when Trump got in office. So this plan to utilize the internet for whatever it is they were bringing our way was a part of the plan accordingly. Then keep on moving. It says here, meet the 7 people who hold the keys to worldwide internet security. So this article here is even older. This is 2014, and it's quite lengthy in nature, but it basically summarizes, from what I was able to scan through, is that it gives more information about the ICANN and how within the ICANN there were several individuals. So it says here, they met once a year, the members of the ICANN community, cyber tech gurus, you name it, but they all had what's considered master keys. And of course, it gives more information as to what those keys was for and how it was designed to not centrally control, key power into one person's hands. So this is something, that's new to me. But give an idea here, it says the East and West Coast ceremonies each have 7 key holders with a further 7 people around the world who could access a last resort measure to reconstruct the system if something calamitous were to happen. It says each of the 14 primary key holders owns a traditional metal key to a safety metal deposit box, which in turn contains a smart card, which in turn activates a machine that creates a new master key. So just more information here. So this is how deep and how technical this stuff is. You got people who are a part of this that basically have the keys to, like, similar to the presidents and all the military, how they got keys to the nuclear weapons. This is how serious this is, because everything we do now funnels through the internet. So all this right here, these keys that control the internet was all turned over to the enemy's hands. Okay, keep moving. So why is America giving up control of ICANN? So this is an interesting little snippet here, but it says this means that a crucial global resurgence will henceforth be managed by an organization that is largely independent of national governments. But how did ICANN come about and what is whatever? So this was just talking about here how, the control over to United Nations and all that good stuff like that. Okay. So reason I wanted to talk about this was we're hearing a lot about cyber attacks, and so cyber attacks is what is going to be used. Probably will be the trigger that brings down the entire financial system or disrupt it. So I was thinking, like, okay, so Alex Jones talked about the kill switch and having, in times of calamity, if things get out of hand. So say, for example, if they lose control of the narrative, that's one way that they can use a kill switch. Or 2, if things get so bad out in the streets, social unrest, whatever, they don't want people communicating via the alternative decentralized platforms such as Rumble, BitChute, Float, Library TV. So basically every decentralized as well as centralized platform is registered on the ICANN website. And so they're a direct, unique identifier and all that stuff like that can literally be turned off on the back end. So why have they not used that up until this point? Why does it appear that they can't disrupt the Rumbles, the BitChutes, and all those alternative sources? Is it because they can't, or is it because it's not time? My personal opinion is that it's not time. And just to show you evidence, let me give you evidence. Let me give you some evidence that at any moment they can literally shut down any domain at any time. It just happens to go with let me share with you here. And so, reason I say this is because they can literally target. So this is a fresh article here to let you know that at any moment, the U.S. takes down Iran-linked news sites, alleged disinformation. So the U.S., and this was as of a couple weeks ago, the U.S. took down Iran news sites. So once again, those are sites located in Iran. How could they take them down? Easily. They're registered with ICANN. So if they're publicly registered on the World Wide Web. They are directly targeted by anybody. They can be brought down. So what does this mean? What I was thinking about was, okay, I was talking last night about the whole banking sector and how, the banks are going to be the catalyst that's going to be used to either create a false narrative that we were attacked by cyber attacks by some entity, or something in the banking sector is going to go haywire and they need to shut stuff down. So think about this. When you log onto your phone, you log onto your computer, everything that we do as far as just typing in www. whatever is routed through this internet, this maze of internet network communication system, and we're directly connected or not. If the banks were to go down, or they wanted to outright deny us access to the financial markets, whether it be our bank accounts, our hedge funds, all the apps, they all have domains. They can literally, as Alex Jones said in that video that I was put up, they can literally direct traffic anywhere they want. And my personal opinion is that if things get bad, they would literally direct everybody towards one single entity of communication, some type of propaganda directly from the government, where people would literally not be able to log into anything, because if the domain doesn't direct you to where you think you're going, you're not getting there. And so the banking sector can be brought down in that way as well, by simply just rerouting the domains. And so they can say it's an attack. But ultimately, if they lose control, they can do it intentionally, similar to the way they brought down those Iranian news sites. And that can definitely disrupt some things. But then again, you got people in the community that say, okay, that doesn't bother me because, I got crypto. Okay, I got crypto. I got my gold, my silver. Great. And that's where I think the benefit of always having something physical or something that you can get to immediately that has this real world, you can feel type of chemical composition. Because think about this. And of course, there's blockchain projects out here now that allow you to register without using an official domain. So I assume that you can go around that, but that's not too widespread as of yet. For the most part, all your exchanges go through some domain that's listed on ICANN. All the crypto exchange swaps, Pancake Swap, Uniswap, all those swaps, you got to type in some swap.com to get there. So if the banking sector goes down, you better believe all the exchanges, all those DeFi exchanges that are registered with ICANN on the internet will also go down. So ultimately, they can create some type of financial Armageddon by simply just rerouting everybody's domain traffic to where, as it says here, you'll be directed directly towards a government emergency broadcast system. They can say, at that moment, they can say whatever they want. And majority of people will be forced to believe them because you would know nothing else. You would never have known that basically the yellow pages of the internet is the key to that is in the hands of the people over in Europe somewhere. The people who are in the cyber polygon room at any minute with the click of a button, they can direct your traffic, which basically direct your finances completely out of your hands and either cut it on when they want or not cut it on at all. That's how serious this stuff is. So just something I want to bring to your attention. And then let me just get another little subject here. Tim, I appreciate you, my man. It says shortwave radio is so cool. It's basically the dark web of radio, largely unregulated. I live in Hawaii and I hear stations in Russia, Africa, and the US. Tim, very true. And speaking of which, I got me one right there. So I'm familiar with what you're talking about. I don't play with it much just because I ain't really tapped into it, but it's very wise to have some form of communication that allows you to communicate beyond the web. And of course, you can communicate and send communication and data and information via those same shortwaves as well, I believe. So very true. And then on another note here, and I'll get ready to unplug, but it's a lot of talk about the UN. And I want to share with you something that, let me know what your thoughts about it. But I thought this was interesting. I meant to do it the other day. But here is a short clip here. And do your own research. It doesn't surprise me if it's real. But here is an article here. It says, New World Order armored UN trucks spotted beside Apotex, sparking fears of military takeover. So this is somewhere in Canada. So somebody did their homework and came up with the address. It's in somewhere in Ontario. This is the pharmaceutical company. And so this is apparently the pharmaceutical building. And if you look at this little video clip here, it's somebody just basically just driving. And as you're driving, they're seeing these freshly and clean UN trucks in Ontario. And of course, first thing I said, I typed it in to verify this. And what came up is fact checker. Some fact checker source said, some fears are causing people on the internet to think that the United Nations is located, whatever. This is completely true. This is untrue because, the company makes trucks for I'm just like, okay, whenever they got fact checkers coming out right away to debunk stuff, that lets us know somebody got busted. So I would take it as real. And so if the UN trucks are in Canada, why would it not be here in the US? And then on another note, you factor in, you have the congressman, State Department invites the UN to probe systemic racism in the US as of the other week. So this was last week. They talking about inviting the UN to probe systemic racism. What exactly has the UN been able to successfully do other than just pillage and rape and basically be the global police force for the globalists themselves that basically just to cause so much damage in nations? But yet, once again, this is just, more UN stuff. So internet's in the UN's hand. Cyber Polygon is a part of the UN. Then we got UN trucks in Canada. So it's just all this stuff is just not like on some conspiratorial type stuff. Like this stuff is actually unfolding. So how does it play out? I don't know. But I think that this whole ICANN internet situation and the possibility of the key being used to direct traffic to where they wanted to go can also be a major factor to where there may not be a taking down of the internet, just more so a diverting of domains to certain places so you can't log in and get information, making it appear to be some type of cyber attack. So, that's just my thoughts there. But anyway, there's more subjects we can touch on, but I just want to, share my 2 cents on that because I think it's something to consider, because if the keys are in the enemy's hands, why would they not use the keys? So anyway, share your thoughts. I'm curious to get your take on it. Where am I wrong? Where am I right? Let me know. So let's talk. Give me the phone. Phone lines are open. Give me a call. Let's talk. I'm curious to hear what your take is on the matter. It's always good to hear directly from you or whatever else you guys want to talk about. Got a couple more articles I want to touch on as well, so I'll spare you guys the rant right now. Let me hear from you guys. All right. Hello, Carlos. Where are you calling from?
Mike, Tim, Colorado.
Tim, how you doing, my man? What's on your mind tonight?
Region 8. Well, first, I want to have a shout-out to I'm high blood pressure, so we need low pressure to check in, and Tony P.
Mm-hmm.
But you're directly over the target. I'm surprised you're not getting more flack. And I don't want to bring any ill wishes.
Yeah,
but
appreciate that.
Everything you say is right on. So
appreciate you, my man.
Party on, bro.
Will do.
Spread the love.
Good to hear from you, man.
Okay.
Good stuff, man. Appreciate the call. Give me a call, 313-462-0027. Phone lines are open. Would love to hear your thoughts. Let me see here. And then, okay, I got a lot more stuff to talk about. Murray says, the good news about UN troops is their incompetence, Bosnia. So, Murray, I'm not, other than just hearing about it, not even too familiar with it like that, because once again, that's just more subject matter that I have not been able to dive into. But I've heard more than enough horror stories about what they've done in Africa, especially. Hello, Carlos. Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Ed Hammond. How's it going, Mike?
Ed, I'm doing good, my man. What's on your mind tonight? Give me a quick thought.
Hey, I've been following Alex for years, and he's right on a lot of stuff. But, and I think his heart is pure, and he's a believer. He's been talking about Christ a lot, in the last year or so.
Right.
And he was right about everything he said about Trump. He went falling for all the Q stuff and everything. But I will say this, he will scare the living daylights out of you. I remember 4 or 5 years ago, him and Steve Quayle was on there talking about the Chinese taking up, space in North and South Carolina, and, we're going to be invaded. And, he can get off kilter a little bit. So, he's been right, and he's probably been the main voice for the people over the last few years, and had a lot to do with getting Trump elected if you're a big Trumper and all that. But it's really hard to listen to him now. I listen to him now. You can get him on the internet through InfoWars and Brighteon's the best one. Go Brighton, Brighton, and you can get him every day. But you really got to watch it, because he will send you into a state of depression if everything he's saying right now is coming true. And maybe you got to believe part of it, but you got to still focus on the Lord and what can we do. And that's why I love your show so much. We can save souls. We can inform people and keep people out there, but let's keep our focus on the Lord. Do what we can do, but trust God.
Definitely. Hey, appreciate your thoughts, man. And that's why I'm curious. I just want to put it out there, because he was right about the bioweapon. Will he be right about the internet kill switch that takes down the internet in its entirety, for their purposes, of course? I mean, it's just something we'll have to wait and see, but, I'm hoping he's wrong. I hope he is wrong. So leave it at that. But hey, man, I appreciate you calling.
Oh, I think we all believe that's going to happen sooner or later. Let's just hope it's later.
Yeah, that's for sure. Appreciate you, man.
Okay, bye.
Be good. Yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff. Appreciate the call. And so I saw something about silver spot price, and so I'm gonna pull that up in a second. But but spot can go down. Them premiums won't. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, Mike, Steve, FEMA Region 9.
Steve, what's going on, my man? Give me some good news.
Hey, I agree with that other caller there. I've been listening to Alex Jones for over 20 years now.
Okay.
I thought the dude was a nut job until I started listening to him. And he's been pretty deadly accurate for the most part. Over all these years, if you recall, he's the one that went up there to Bohemian Grove and busted all those world leaders worshiping some wooden owl.
Yeah.
Moloch. And Moloch's right out of the Bible in Leviticus there.
Yeah.
So everything always comes back to that anyway. But yeah, he's been dead on.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you just get past his rants and listen to his information,
yeah,
that's because like the guy said right before me, I guess. Yeah, he gets excited, and I'm just used to him. So I look past the rant and I go for the information.
Yeah.
And the information is almost like deadly accurate.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to let you go there.
Appreciate you. Thanks for talking to me, man.
All right. Take it easy.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the thing. Like, and so every TV personality or TV, commentator has a different personality style. And that's why I focus on the information share. I don't care about whether I like them or not. What's coming out of their mouth? And is it real? Is it fake? Can I use it? How can it help me? That's ultimately what I look at. Hello, caller. Which name are you calling from? Looks like I just lost somebody. Let me get you back on here. Give me 1 second here. Let me get myself together here. Hello, caller. Which name are you calling from?
Yeah, hello?
Hi there. How you doing?
Hello?
Give me 1 second.
Yes, do me a favor. Can you mute your computer or your phone? All right, maybe not. All right, give me a call. I'll get you on here. All right, let's try this again. All right, hello, caller. Which name are you calling from?
Yes, I muted my laptop, like you said.
All right,
yeah, sorry about
appreciate you. No problem. What's on your mind? What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Fahmy. I think you might remember me. I'm the unemployment guy.
Okay, go ahead.
Never mind. Yeah, I collected almost like $30,000 worth of that unemployment. I spent. I was trying to get my weight up and stuff, but then I'm also really in tune into like the crypto space.
Yeah.
And actually, I did very well for myself because initially I got into this like scammy like cryptocurrency called I don't know. I'm not gonna shill it. I'm not gonna say the name, whatever.
Right.
But I made good. I made good money off that too. And what happened was, because I was in like the bull run at 2017.
Yeah.
So I remember a lot of what went down there. So I took a lot of that advice. And what happened was, I realized that Coinbase was like doing their IPO and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I figured, once they're done with that, Bitcoin prices aren't gonna. You know what I mean? Yeah. They're not going to stay on the up and up. Because that's literally what happened like in 2017 was, they had their big day. And then after that, it was all like, oh, the CME listed Bitcoin. And then it was like, bam, crash.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I remember that. And I'm like, oh, wait, you're telling me Coinbase is going to list and they're going to make billions of dollars off this? I'm like, they're like the only place where you can actually sell your Bitcoins for cash in America, Yeah. Them and Kraken and like Kraken, Bitstamp, Coinbase, that's it. Other than that, it's all fake, like wash trading, like you can't even sell like $1 million worth of stuff. I mean, not that I have that much money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of sold it at the $60, literally on the $60 top or $60,000 top, and I was like very happy about that.
All right.
Yeah. So sorry, that was just a little back, but yeah, I actually when they first came for Alex Jones, mm-hmm. I was saying like, this is it, this is how the machine works. You give them a hand and they take what they call it? They take an arm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they went from like lonely. But I don't want to say just like I predicted, but just like a lot of people predicted at the time,
Yeah.
They literally went from lonely and crazed YouTuber, at least by some people's beliefs.
Yeah.
And they took that and they're like, you know what? Yeah, let's take it to the next level now. Let's just get the president of the United States. I'm like, what? I'm like, this is literally what everyone was predicting. This is like. They said it's all conspiracy, the left wing and stuff. They're like, he's just a crazy man. That's
not conspiracy anymore, though. But hey, man, I appreciate you calling in. Let me get some more calls in.
Yeah,
thanks for checking in with us.
Yeah, sorry, I went on a little too wrong with
it's all good.
Yeah,
I appreciate you, man.
Okay.
Good to hear your voice. Yeah.
Okay, have a good day.
Be good. Yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff. Let's try to keep the call short and sweet, people. Hello, caller. Which name are you calling from?
Hey, how's it going, Mike?
Doing well. Who am I speaking with?
Speaking with Tim, calling from the 808.
Tim from 808. How you doing, man?
Hey, I just wanted to inject a little thought I had. I think the primary tool that the powers that be are capable of wielding over us is the feeling of helplessness that they can give to us.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to, just share with the community and, just kind of exercise my opinion on is whenever you feel like you cannot get through to people, do not let that be a deterrent into spreading the truth and knowledge to as many people as you can, because that is where our power lies.
Yeah.
Is in the truth.
Right.
So as much as we can get that out, just don't be discouraged.
Hey, appreciate you, man. Thanks for calling in.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah. Hello, caller. Where are you calling from?
Hey, Mike. Frank giving you a ring from Brisbane, Australia.
Frank from Australia, man. What's going on down under? Give me some good news and some real news.
Whatever questions you got, Mike, I'll do my best to answer, mate. What would you like to know about what's happening down here?
I remember a couple months ago, somebody from Australia, I'm not sure if it's you or not, but somebody called and mentioned about the issues with using credit cards or whatnot to buy silver and gold. It's just they said the credit cards were not working in certain regions. I want to know if that's still going on. And is there still a mad dash to get weight up down there, or are people focused on the housing bubble, trying to get rich that way, or what?
Hadn't heard about anything like that down here, but I'm not to say that hasn't happened. I'm sure that some bullion dealers may very well operate that way. I certainly haven't experienced that firsthand or know of anybody that does. The religion down here is I'm a believer and follower of the Messiah, Jesus Christ, but the religion down here is definitely real estate, and everybody is still checked into the Church of Real Estate down here. With I don't know what the proportion of variable rate mortgages is, but it's insane. I think it's over 50%. So the majority of people that have a mortgage here have a component of their mortgage that is fixed, and then a component that is variable rate. So when this thing does go, I guess as the Aussies like to say, tits up, there's going to be a lot of Australians getting calls from their banks saying, the rate that you're on at 3% is now 10%, similar to the GFC back in 2008. So most people aren't awake to that, though, Mike. They have no idea, and they're going to find out the hard way.
Yeah, and now here's the thing. Just watching a lot of commentators talk about the Australian house bubble. It's been going on for like 30 years now, and there's been no signs so that's why it's become more of a religion, because people have never experienced any type of market correction. Now, what's the likelihood of the government and central bank there allowing it to correct without creating some new way of trying to keep that thing inflated, regardless of whatever they got to do?
Yeah, that's a good question and a good insight. I really don't know how long music will go on, whether it's another 2 months, 2 years, or 20 years. But that's the perspective here. Whenever any kind of overseas financial turmoil is brought up in conversation, most people do revert back to, well, look, we're in Australia, 30 years, no recessions, it'll be okay, it'll all work out. And that's very much the mindset here amongst those that own property for their main dwelling and those that invest in property down here, for sure.
Right. And I heard about it being extremely, extremely expensive. I've saw a lot of people like doing a tiny home route, just basically getting a trailer and parking it on somebody else's property or something like that. Oh man,
absolutely. Like my mother's half of the family is Australian, and my two grandparents, who were both factory workers back in the 1930s, saved hard and bought their first house cash with a few years worth of savings. And now even if you worked 10 or 15 years and saved your money, that might get you a deposit, but you'd likely need some help from a family member, like a parent or a grandparent, to even get a deposit. So home ownership, the way I see it is you're either renting from a landlord or you're renting from the bank, but you're renting from somebody. It is not your home. It's somebody else's. Hey,
man, I appreciate you for calling and checking in with us from down under, my man. Keep us posted on anything that happens down there. And also, I'm hearing more about the lockdowns. Are you experiencing lockdowns?
Yes. In Brisbane, we're on a mask mandate at the moment. So they did a lockdown for 3 days a few weeks ago, where you're only supposed to go when you leave your house to go get essentials, or if you have to go to work or things like that. That only lasts 3 days. We've had 3 or 4, maybe 5 of those in Brisbane. So we haven't had any lengthy ones like the 1 month or few week ones they seem to do in some of the other places. But Brisbane's masked up. Everybody's got their diaper on, and on their face, that is, and most people go along with it. There's not a lot of pushback. People think, my mask protects you, yours protects me. No one's really questioning the science or pseudoscience, depending on
how you look at
how you're looking at that.
Well, hey man,
but
I appreciate
love what you do, Mike. Keep preaching the good word too, man. You great financial insights and great spiritual insights. Appreciate what you do for the kingdom, Mike.
Appreciate you. Thanks for the support.
Absolutely. Take care.
All right, man. Let's get these calls, man. I'm missing some calls. Let me get them. Hello, caller. Where are you calling from?
What's up, Mike? It's King D again. I posted in the Discord this map, and it's like how the China and their trade partners are like how they've pretty much taken over the world. And I don't know, man. I seen the updated one a few days ago for 2020, and it's literally like Europe, like a couple countries in Europe and most of North America. In fact, I'd like to say that Canada took over. Canada took over there in the most recent one. It's, man, it kind of blew my mind. But when I seen that and all the stuff you're talking about, it's really just like all the things you talk about are symptoms of this, man. And we're being contained back in our own part of the world, man. And man, the one for 2020. I mean, if you could, I think it stops at 2018.
Yeah, I got it on the screen now. I got it on the screen now. It came out in January of this year, but it goes up to 2018.
Yeah, well, the one for 2020, it's updated to this. It just updated a little bit ago.
Yeah,
it's literally like all of Africa's gone.
Yeah,
more of Europe, and it's that's what's happening, man. And they structure it. They do whatever they need to do with controlling the people. But at the end of the day, these people that are powerful, they're beyond countries and whatever. And it's all focusing on the Asian pivot.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing.
I don't know. That's just what I wanted to add and kind of show this map, man. I'll try to find the one that's updated for 2020 because it's ridiculous, man.
I appreciate you. And just this map right here, it's no way you can see the influence that China has over the world and not see that things are being set up to head their way. Like, you know, the little bit of blue that's left on the Western Hemisphere, it pales in comparison to all the red on the Eastern. So it's no doubt that and it looks like there's a tug of war in Europe, according to this 2018 here. So I wonder how much has that changed since. So, but this is the next global power, but that and that's the thing. Nobody's really focusing on this and really linking how China has the globalists are doing this for China because they want China to be the next head so that they can now take over and basically just enslave us over here, have everything made in the USA, or pennies on a dollar. Yeah. So anyway, I can go on and on, man. But thank you for bringing this to our attention, my friend.
Yeah, just last little thought on it, man. Like you see, this map starts in 1980. That's just a short while after Kissinger and Nixon opened this up.
Yeah.
And look at the changes that it brought about. Like this stuff's planned out way hard, man. But I'll let you do your thing, man. I just wanted to point that out.
I appreciate you, man. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, bye.
Yeah. This is interesting, man. So to go back to 1980, when the dollar still was the guaranteed preferred mechanism and medium of exchange up until the .com crash, when gold and China rather started getting their weight up officially. That's when China appeared on the scene strong. And then from that point on, we just look at how this thing changes. Look at this. It got more and more red throughout the years. And now I'm sure it's probably a lot more red than what we're seeing here. So appreciate you, King D, for that update there, man. So that's the type of stuff we do in the Discord, man. So definitely go connect with us on the Discord. You'll always stay ahead of the crowd. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Mike, it's low blood pressure. Corpus Christi.
LB Pizzle. How you doing, man?
Man, running out of battery juice. Hey, let me give you a quick thought real quick. I was listening to Alaska Prepper, and he was put out a video about an MIT. They're talking about the future, which would be now, right? Anyways, they said in the article, it was saying that borrowing from the future, like they're stealing the future's resources today, right?
Yeah.
But that's not what's happening because they're borrowing from the future generations. They're stealing now. They're stealing everything now because they're borrowing to buy everything up now, but they're never going to pay it back. It's going to hyperinflate, Mike.
Very true. They're borrowing from tomorrow to steal for today.
So they're not borrowing the future of anybody. They're stealing everything now.
Yeah.
It's genius, Mike. Genius. Yeah. That's why you got to load up on debt, buy everything up.
Yeah, and that makes sense. And that's a better way of putting it. They're not borrowing because they're not planning on paying it back. So they're stealing. So that is, like the fact that the debt's stealing, like we're borrowing from whoever is buying treasuries, but they know damn well they're not paying none of that debt back. So good way of being frank and upfront with us.
It's genius. Oh, and another thing, Mike. I got a letter from Wells Fargo the other day. it said that they stopped the lines of credit. They said because too many people are doing the LB. There's too many LBPs out there borrowing and buying
they
silver.
caught on to the LBP method. Oh man, so Wells Fargo, and I heard a couple other banks are joining. I haven't found out who yet, but that's probably step one in their 5-step plan to literally cut off all types of borrowing from the public, either to minimize their damages or the exposure to losses before they actually unplug this damn thing or not. So I don't know, but yeah,
I don't think it's losses, Mike, because they create money. They could just write that off and whatever.
And that's what they're doing.
Imagination. The thing is, everybody's loading up and buying everything. All the people that have lines of credit, they know what's coming.
Yeah, good point, man. Well, hey, man, I appreciate you for calling and sharing that, man.
All right, Mike. Have a good night. Bye.
Yeah. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. All right, people, keep the phones on. I'm missing some calls. Give me a call, and let's talk. So a lot of good stuff thrown out there. Let me go back and acknowledge the super chat. Let me see if I can go back. Chris, I appreciate you. I don't want to say I didn't forget you. Let me go back here. Can I find it? It's not here, but I saw it was about the dollar and the military. So give me 1 second. Let me find that chat real quick. I apologize. And so I'll go back and find it. So the question was, Mike, if the dollar implodes, will the government send out the military to keep law and order? Great question. It's a tough one because my first thought would be yes. But with this whole push to get everybody vaccinated, and of course, the military has their own development. They're developing their own vaccine, of which I think it said as of September 1st or 2nd, it's going to be mandatory. So I think a lot of people might end up delisting from the Army. And then the people who decide to stay in and participate on that, I don't think they're going to be in the best shape, really, probably. If the whole vaccine stuff turned out to be what I believe and what we suspect it is, they're not going to be in the best shape to be able to fight and defend anything. So I think there might be the UN. And so that's one thing, and I don't follow the UN much because over here in America, we don't hear any news. But I wouldn't be surprised if the UN, they're building up the UN forces, and those people are not participating. So they'll be in better health condition to be able to be dispersed to certain regions, perhaps, or there'll be certain segments of the private sector. And so just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, I'm missing some calls, but give me 1 second because this triggered a thought. Let me share with you something that might be worth paying attention to. So this is in reference to me mentioning how there might be UN troops on Canadian soil, which means it's more than likely there, of course, there's UN trucks probably in the U.S. as well, if this is the case, sure. But then on another note here's an article here, the rise of a secret, unaccountable police force in America. So this was as of 2 weeks ago, and this was in reference to, I came across this article in reference to the UN situation. So ultimately, I'm not sure how big this is or even much about it, but it's the United States Capitol Police. And so this is something about the state capitol. But if this is true, this article also mentions that there's other private and militarized style security forces available. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's probably a lot more that they'll probably use in certain pockets if they don't use the military, because that's, once again, will the military turn on their own? We'll see. And based upon what's happening in France with the French police marching with the protesters, I would imagine at some point those people who are paid law enforcement officers, they're going to realize that they're really, holding down law enforcement for people who don't even really have the interests of the U.S. in heart. So they might turn forces. So they got to have a backup plan. So worst case scenario, they'll probably start off with the military, but I don't think they'll end up with the military, because once everybody realizes that we're all in the same game and it's us versus them meaning the globalists, those meaning, those principalities and powers is under the influence of the enemy, Satan himself, I would imagine a lot of people might decide to opt out if they could or can. So that's just my little rant there. Anyway, but thanks for that super chat, my friend. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Mike, Tony from Oakland. How you doing, brother?
TB, doing good, man. What's on your mind tonight?
Shout out to Tim, man. I appreciate you calling me up. I wasn't even going to call in tonight, but he rang me up.
You couldn't take a night off, man.
LBP's right. LBP's right. He ruined it for everybody. He told everybody to get in, man. Did he not?
Yeah, he's been preaching that forever. He max out credit cards, get another max it out, keep it going.
and get a house.
And he did that.
But what I was calling in for, and we give people too much credit, especially Alex Jones. I don't think Alex Jones has proven anything.
Okay.
As far as what he says is going to happen.
Yeah.
And with the ICANN and IANA, they're just a. Everybody wants to think that Obama gave away the internet. He didn't give away the internet. These guys just monitor the .coms, the names that gets put to the .coms and the .nets and the ITs. It just monitors them. The people you need to be worried about is ISOC.
Okay, good to me.
International Society.
Okay.
Of Internet.
Okay.
They're the ones that have the pull, and it's not necessarily in the name.
Yeah.
But if you got the pull, and you could say, hey, this guy is such and such bad guy, and that they've got 133 countries backed up by them. So yeah, those are the ones you need to be worried about. Yeah. I wouldn't worry too much about ICANN and IANA. They're both connected. Yeah. So you can't have one without the other.
Right. Now, so I would assume with ICANN and IANA, they're also probably locking step in direct communication with ISOT as well. And they're all the people who are probably employed or associated with those entities. They're participating in Cyber Polygon right now because they couldn't pull off any cyber attack without having those on the same team. Wouldn't you say?
No, because with ISOC, they prevent this sort of stuff. With ICANN and IANA, they have no control over anything. I mean, they could say, okay, we give you this domain name. Oh, no, we don't give you that domain name.
Right. But I would assume.
I mean, it's really a lower step down than what ISOC can do.
Right. Right. So it's tiers to it. So ICANN, ISANA is up on the bottom. But yet they're the phone book for any people that they the phone book that has all the listings of anybody they consider to be a threat, such as the Iranian news sources that were probably pinpointed, and then they passed it up to ISOT or whoever else, because the article said the U.S. took down, and of course take it for what it's worth, but some governmental entity somewhere took down those news sources off the internet. So that type of activity.
How does the U.S. take it down if they sold that information?
I don't know. So that's where the NSA that we don't know, we don't hear much about, and the Five Eyes, as I think you mentioned the Five Eyes several times. So maybe the Five Eyes decided to pull some stuff off the internet, or just basically just unplug them. That's all. So I'm talking about they can just unplug stuff when they want. And
well, I mean, if you're looking for clicks, then yeah.
If
you're looking for YouTube clicks, then yeah, you could say that.
Yeah,
but that's not the actual case of the whole situation.
Yeah. So
brother, keep your head up, man.
Appreciate you, man.
All right,
be good.
Bye.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff, man. I appreciate the back and forth. All right, let's keep it going. We got here the Thunder Sound says storylines of video games like Battlefield 2024 show the next generation of warfare simulated. Borderless armies with no country due to climate event. Really? Battlefield 2042. I've never played that, so I don't know. But Thunder Sound, thank you for sharing that. So here's the thing. All the sci-fi movies that we've seen over the last 10, 20 years, I think they all have small pieces of the greater agenda that they're trying to orchestrate. Now, whether or not they'll be successful, who knows? I pray to God they don't. But if they do, it's one of those things where we were always foretold the future that they want to create for humanity. So whether it's in a video game, whether it's in a movie, everybody can probably go through and name some of their favorite sci-fi movies of some stuff that we couldn't imagine ever coming about. But yeah, right now you can probably hear an article somewhere of them talking about creating weaponized humans and plugging you into the internet, like that Tom Cruise movie, whichever one it was. I can't think of off the top of my head. No, not Mission Impossible, whatever. You guys know what I'm talking about. And all those movies dealing with the human genome. When they start talking about want to change DNA and make these superhumans and transhumanism, connecting us to the cloud, biometric chips, like that stuff was told movies a long time ago, but here we are now. And I always say, if somebody out there thinking it, somebody already paid for it. So anyway, man, let's keep it moving. All right. A lot of evil in the world. Vince Grant joins. We got Barbara in the building. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Says, hey, Mike. Calderon says, hey, Mike, will 401k pension plans exist in 5 to 10 years? Calderon, great question. My personal opinion, I've talked about this for several years now. all future promises will be reneged upon, because it is mathematically impossible to live up to those obligations in purchasing power terms. Like, you can actually, what's his name? Alan Greenspan mentioned that they can make payments when they talk about Social Security and stuff like that. They can make the payments, but he said we can't guarantee you what it'll purchase. So yeah, you could probably get paid out monthly, $3,000, $4,000. Mind you, right now in all those countries with distressed currencies, citizens are being paid out. But the question is, when you're being paid out, what can you buy with it? And that's the idea that due to monetary inflation and just the diminishing of the ability for people to sustain themselves due to the inflated cost of living, it's going to be hard for those numbers to keep up with the rate of inflation or the asset price increases throughout time. So my personal opinion would be no. 5 or 10, I don't know. But my personal hypothesis is that the current Federal Reserve note structure will not exist beyond 5 years, or the Federal Reserve paper note will be around, but it won't be used and circulated as much because businesses won't accept it. You won't be able to pay your bills or do anything, but it'll still be legal tender. But if corporations don't accept it, they don't have to accept it, then what it will be good for other than bartering amongst people hand to hand. So my personal opinion, in 10 years, the dollar, i.e. the dollar, will still be around. It's going to be rebranded. It'll be digital in nature. We'll still be calling it a dollar, but it won't look the same, just like all the prior dollars that we've gone through. The evolution of dollars have changed significantly over the last umpteen years. And so, once again, we still call things dollars, but they're not really dollars. And I'll show you a little bit of example what I'm referring to here, and then I'll get ready to dial back. But here's my little visual aid here of how the America's money has changed. And so we've had dollars since the greenback was called the dollar back in the day. Then we had the certificates, continental certificates, whatever they call, I forgot them. But we had dollars all back in these. So these are all different brands of dollars. We had a total of 7 different dollar types, 7 different dollar types in the last 100 plus years. And now we got 3: coins, papers, and digits. And they're all controlled by the Federal Reserve, except the coinage or whatever. But you get my drift. So the word dollar will still be around, but it won't look the same now, and it won't purchase as much for sure. LB4 2021 says, now is the time to cash out your 401k and buy real assets. Once again, it's a financial opinion, but my mantra was, you should have probably got out of a lot of that stuff. By my personal opinion, you should have got out of a lot of that stuff that you are dependent upon receiving in your future a long time ago. Because if you're a younger person, you're not going to retire, because retirement itself won't look the same, and it won't be viewed the same. And so all these promises will be reneged on. And the stock market, Dow could be 100,000, but once again, the currency is inflated to oblivion. It won't really equate to much purchasing power. So, but anyway, all right, let's get ready to dial back, people. I appreciate everybody for hanging out with me. And as always, it's good to connect with the audience. I appreciate all the involvement, all the community activity out there. So for those that are still tuned in, I want to encourage you, click the social media tab beneath this video, join the Discord page, share your favorite videos, articles that you come across throughout the day. Give us something to talk about tomorrow night, so we'll all stay connected, because there's 30 different subjects that we all can touch on that's relevant to our lives now. But only these 2 eyes and these ears can only focus on 1 or 2 at a time. That's why I depend upon you guys to bring some of those topics to the table so we can cover it. We'll cover more ground with more eyes, is what I'm saying. So that's why I need your help. So hit the thumbs up button, show your support for the channel, and let's get ready to dial back as always. And I want to make sure I end on some good news, as I try to do all the time, just because you go through talking about real world events, it can be very discouraging. But realize nothing we're experiencing now is by coincidence. It's all designed and intentionally, not only by the enemy, but mind you, God uses the enemy to execute his plans as well. Every single instance in the Bible where the enemy set up a trap for the believers, or just to work his own so-called, plan, God always turns it around for the benefit of those that were participating. And here's a good little example. And this is probably far-fetched, but it came to mind earlier. You got Meshach, Abednego, and was it Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego were 3 characters that were Jewish in the Babylonian kingdom. and I think in the book of Daniel, if I'm not mistaken. And those 3 people refused to bow down to the king to worship him. So everybody kind of know those stories. It's one of the more popular ones. But they basically were willing to lay down their lives because they were not going to bow to the king. They just knew it was something they couldn't have done. And I think we're experiencing something like that, or going to experience something like that in this current era when it comes to the participation in this global experiment. Because as pressure creeps in, a lot of people will probably say, hey, I'm not going to bow down. I'm not going to take that, whatever. And we know how that story ended. You know, they were thrown in a fire. And of course, the king said, it looks like there's a 4th person in there. And of course, we reference that to being Christ himself, who was in there to protect them. So those individuals made it out of that particular instance, you know, smoke free, fire free. And from that, God turned that event into a way to where the king got saved, the kingdom was turned over, and they started worshiping God. So what the enemy meant for evil, God turned for the benefit of multiple people, of many people. And I think that same power is available now to where God can take a certain event that the enemy planned to basically eliminate, exterminate the kingdom of God, but with faith and with confidence in the king himself. We can't determine the outcome God has for all this, but we can say that we will win, whatever that looks like. So let's leave that open for you to, because everybody's circumstances, of course, will be different, but yet you win. And if you in Christ, you win here or after you're no longer in this body. And that's the biggest benefit of being a believer in Christ, is that we're promised eternal life. And that eternal life will one day come again to this new earth at some point in the future. So be of encouragement, people. The pressure will intensify, but be of good cheer. You know, God has already overcome the world, and greater is he that's in me, or us, that's in the world. So that's what I want to leave you guys with tonight. Hopefully that was of encouragement to somebody out there. If it was, hit the thumbs up button there. But let's close on a good word, man. Ask the Lord for guidance and wisdom the way we always do. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to gather tonight as a community, Father. We ask that you would touch every single individual tuning in right now and those that might watch the replay. We ask you charge up their spirits, Father. Give them a fresh anointing in this season to be bold and courageous, to preach and to share your good news, Father. Steer their hearts directly. Draw them closer to you, Father. Lessen the pressure of the tempter on their lives, Father, so they can stay focused on kingdom business in this decade. There's more souls that need to be touched right now, Father, and we ask you to guide us and allow us to just, in the simplest way, share our testimony, share our story, and help build up your family, Father. We know that you love souls, and we want to do our part to help expand the kingdom family. So, Father, give us boldness, courage to do such, Father, in the name of Jesus Christ. We thank you. Amen. All right, people. Whew, that's all she wrote for tonight. Man, once again, it's always good to end on a good note, to charge up your spirit. And I hope you guys were charged up. Deposit more in your spiritual account through the word itself. The word is how you build up your faith. And of course, it's always good to just plug in with fellow believers, you know, because that's how you also are encouraged. So I appreciate everybody for hanging out with me tonight. Be blessed, be safe. And I will see you tomorrow, Lord willing. Peace.